Well, thank you again, Elyse. I am honored to be with all of these ladies today. It's just, as Lisa and Sierra both mentioned, it is unreal and very hard to describe how uplifting it can be to form a community with like-minded women who are, have every different background, and our goals are also different in what we want to do in life. But there's just this shared passion and drive to want to live our best lives and really discover our power. And it is just so uplifting to be surrounded by that kind of a community. So I'm so, so grateful for that. And then a little bit about me, Kaitlyn Duchesne. I live in a suburb of Detroit, Michigan, and I currently work for a company called Palladium Group that helps fee-only financial advisors outsource their insurance for their clients. So I've worked for this company for many, many years, but it really wasn't until I joined the 10K Club that major leaps started happening for me. And it's just wild to even look back at the short period, how much has happened in such a short period of time.
Yeah. And so Kaitlyn, for you, I would love if you could share, number one, where were you before, and like, why did you decide to join? And then what are some of those leaps that you've had since you joined?
Sure, absolutely. So as I mentioned, I've been with the same company for a while and have been so blessed by so many great opportunities there. I actually studied social work in college and never pictured myself in insurance or financial services at all. But one thing kind of led to another, and I had enjoyed my employment, but definitely got to a place, especially last year with the pandemic and how much of a role that played on just mental health and community in general, where I was really just frustrated with myself. I was feeling very stagnant in my life, unfulfilled, and I was looking at any other possible opportunity at that point, kind of knocking on every door to see what would open, where I considered going back to school again. I considered, other opportunities within my company, some opportunities outside, but I just knew it kind of culminated in January of this year of, I can't stay in this place anymore. I am so unhappy. I have to make a move. No matter what it is, a change has got to be made. So just the way the universe works things together and the way that God works things together, that was the same time that I really discovered Elyse and discovered She Sells and the 10K Club. And I'd actually just put in an application for a new role at my company, like the same week that I joined a masterclass of Elyse's, where she was talking about the 10K Club. And it all came together of like, I'm reaching for this position that I feel totally not qualified for, but it would literally double my income. And so I can't help but just apply and see what happens. And then also, hearing from Elyse, hearing what she's all about, hearing what the 10K Club is so focused on, I had the similar pull as I'm sure all of these ladies had of like, I need to do this. This is so important for me to do. So I made that investment in the 10K Club. And then literally like the next day, I was offered the position for the current role that I'm in now, and literally doubled my income, which was absolutely wild. And that was such a huge quantum leap, but truly like only the beginning of the journey for me as well.
Yeah, that's God and I planned that one for you. That's that's a great timing. But I think, and Kaitlyn, thank you for sharing that. And please, like, whatever you do or don't feel comfortable sharing here, I would invite you to. But and part of my own story is overcoming a lot of anxiety, a lot of disconnection from feminine energy. I know for many of the women who are either on this live right now or who are in the program, that's part of the story. And when I think about you, and it's like, not just the doubling of income, which is really cool. And I feel like you're getting paid, like you're going to keep growing what you're getting paid, but I'm so excited for how much more you're making now. But I know you've had a lot of internal transformation as well. Would you mind sharing whatever you're comfortable with in terms of that inner transformation and growth?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like, even though the money leaps were such a huge deal at the beginning, that was really the tip of the iceberg for me, because yes, it's great to be making more money. That's awesome. But I really needed to unpack some of the stuff that was causing my limiting beliefs, things in my past tied to my childhood that were just these lies that I kept feeding myself all the time and really kept me back from accessing my full potential. So, things from dealing with a mother that loves me dearly, but in some ways imparted her own limiting beliefs on me. I experienced an eating disorder when I was in middle school as well, and dealt with a lot of body dysmorphia for a really long time. So many things that I'd just been feeding myself that, I can blame on society or other people, but ultimately I'd accepted those things and I'd allowed them to just simmer inside of me and create this kind of ugliness that was holding me back from doing what I really wanted to do and knew that I was made to do. So, working with Elyse and the other women in the club helped me to really identify those things and overcome them, have very tangible ways of creating, phrases that I would repeat to myself in my head to combat those limiting beliefs. As soon as it would sneak in, I would recognize it and say, nope, I'm not available for that anymore. That's not what I tell myself. That's not who I am. I'm going to replace it with something else. And when Sierra was talking about the way that she now views herself differently in the mirror, even just yesterday, I remember, like, I'm getting married soon, so I'm trying on some rehearsal dinner dresses, and I look in the mirror, I'm like, I look good. And it's not like I've had any sort of like weight change between now and 6 months ago, but it's just, I'm really happy with where I am in this stage of life. I'm appreciative of my body. It's healthy. I'm proud of myself for who I am and just how that whole energy like exudes out of you then. And you're able to pour so much love and admiration on other people when you feel that way about yourself. So that for me has been huge.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you and I think each of these women is a testament to this. And Kaitlyn, your story it's really making me think of like that inner shift when we don't have the money, we think it's the money. And look, I care a lot about each of you women having a lot of money but that happens naturally as a byproduct of who you're being. And like being able for any of us, like, I know how powerful that is to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, you look good. And to hear you say that and like really feel that and feel that love for yourself, that you get to take with you your whole life. And that's when everything comes to you when you're showing up that way. The money, the clients, the opportunities, they come, but that inner shift is profound. So thank you, Kaitlyn. And one just final question for you. What would you say? So if there's a woman who is considering joining, maybe she's in sales for another company, maybe she's in a very male dominated industry, or maybe she, whoever, whatever her questions are, but what advice would you give to a woman who is considering applying?
Sure. Well, that was a big part of why I was feeling unfulfilled previously, was because I was in a role in a very male dominated industry and I didn't feel like my voice was really being heard or that my talents could be used to their fullest ability. And so hearing Elyse talk so much about selling from a feminine perspective resonated a lot with me. And I was, tremendously interested in that because I never even heard of that concept before. But very similar to what Lisa mentioned as well, and Sierra, trust your intuition. If you feel a pull to move forward, do it, invest in yourself. The investment for me was something that I am in a situation, fortunately in my life, where I've been very frugal and I had enough money to comfortably make the investment. But because my mentality all the way along in life had been, you have to save, you never know when you're going to need it, you need to hold on to money so tightly. I realized that, like, how good is money if you can't invest it in something, you can't return it and get it back to you. And something Elyse talks about all the time is that money is energy and you really have to let it go to let it flow back and to, be exponentially flowing back to you as well. So when I initially made the investment, I went from like total excitement to like dread in the first, 24 hours of like, oh my gosh, I've never like invested this much in myself or many other things in life. But then from that moment on, there was never any feeling of regret, because it's the value that I've received from working with Elyse and all of the women in the club goes far beyond a dollar amount, and truly has transformed my life from here to eternity. So that's my story, and I don't know what yours is, but if you feel it in your heart, you've just got to trust that intuition and do it. It will not be something that you regret at all.
Thank you so much.